for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
Do we have the new voice and stunning conclusion, Pilk, or is that not? Is that a separate thing still?
I have no idea. I haven't been here the last 2 days, B-Man. I didn't even know we had a new open yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't remember if that played or not when you were on the thing.
First time I'd heard it.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's shorter. It's kind of to the point. I don't mind it, actually.
Yeah, I like it.
I like the female voice. Welcome, everybody. Pilk, that other guy that we were going to get on last week, he's booked now for tomorrow. Little meeting on the show. I'll tell you more about it in the break. All right, welcome. Nice to have you with us here, Patrick Johnson Show. Stephen Igo and I spoke to Cliff Godwin. We'll have that for you coming up in just a little bit. Brett Friedlander is Air Jordan, ERR Jordan. Is she suspended? Is she not suspended? Is she banned? Is she not banned? Is she able to set foot on the field of Kenan Stadium, or is she not? Brett Friedlander, Saturdays Down South, who covers the ACC, will give us the straight poop, the 411. Did I see, by the way, and we'll talk to Cliff about this, an amazing turn of events on Friday night. First of all, or Saturday night, excuse me. I watched part of the game since it was moved to 2. What was I doing? Oh, Friday. Well, let's start there. Let's back up and start on Friday as we recap. Boy, what a show we had outside of the Down East Bird Dogs at Granger Stadium. The dog park, as they call it, DAWG, Dog Park. All kinds of friends and brethren in radio were there. Our own Mark Miller, of course, never got him on the air. But we had Jeff Turner on, thanks to Jeff from Murphy Family Ventures. We had Bill Ellis from the city of Kinston on. Bill's retired from that now, but Bill's basically the guy that has got the Frontier League team there in town. And it was great to have Chris Dumbshot, I think it is. But Chris from the director of fun, their marketing director from the Bird Dogs. Great to have him on. They treated us very, very well. Weather worked out. Ended up with a great little event. Enjoyed it immensely. They got hammered in their first game. Great crowd, though. By the way, happy birthday, Claude Kennedy. He was celebrating. I saw Dixon Sauls before. Other listeners or people who claim they listen but were asking me questions that they clearly don't understand what goes on in our station. But they must follow it on the socials. Or they just listen to the bigger stars that are on the station. Not me, which is fine. At least nice that they came up and spoke. It dawned on me this weekend, Pilk, that people know me from different things. And I'm not just known for one thing.
Oh, you're a jack of all trades.
I'm a jackwagon for sure. There is a sector out there that knows me for this. There's a sector out there that knows me for the talk of the town. There's a sector out there that knows me for the game commentary. There's a sector of people that know me from this or that or whatever. And this apparently was someone who really didn't know me from the radio, but knew me from other things. Because the questions they were asking me was a little bit. Anyway, saw Dixon Sauls. He looked fantastic. Former Farmville coach. Looked amazing. Had a lovely conversation. It was Claude Kennedy's birthday. Claude is a regular listener to this show. He's still umpiring. Out in the field, still umpiring. He's no spring chicken, but he looks great. I was shocked that they told me his age because I've always thought he looks way younger than that. So good genes for that great Claude Kennedy guy. But they had a birthday party for him. There was a line to get in. And then on Saturday, the accounts that I got was that it was a great crowd, another big crowd for the – and here's the thing, Bill, and this – you'll appreciate this because you're a down-home kind of guy. I had a couple people say to me and one of the other radio people that was there, this feels like our team again. This feels like our hometown team. And, this is local ownership there in Kinston. This is not a parent ball club from the big leagues who we've seen come into North Carolina and pulled the team out of Kinston. They're doing the same thing up in Zebulon with moving the team to Wilson, which, I think it's going to be great. They seem like the Wilson people are committed to it, and the Brewers made a business decision. I get that. At the end of the day, the Rangers made a business decision. I get that. But this is local, and so if people will continue to show up in good, strong numbers, not every night. I mean, you can't expect people to show up every night. But if people will show up in those representative kind of numbers on, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and decent crowd Sunday. Team didn't play Sunday because of the weather. They'll show up. The team will do well, and it'll be here forever and ever and ever. And from what I can gather, they plan on growing the Frontier League to the point that it adds teams that are a little more geographic in respect to what we're doing here in eastern North Carolina and down in Kinston. So I hope it's a success. I really do. I've already told Henry, of course, he blew me off on it, but I think we ought to have an IBX media field trip down there. I think we ought to go where the Big Hen goes. We can sit in one of the boxes. The hammer, Hank, you, me, whoever else wants to go. Not Buscemi. I can't imagine he'd be a lot of fun at a ball game. But, if Dom wants to go, just whoever wants to go. And I'm going to say no to Dr. No. I don't know if he'd be much fun at a ball game. Well, but everybody else would be a hoot.
We know that Dom can down 9 hot dogs in 9 innings. But because they did that watch-along inside the radio station last year, he was not allowed to consume alcohol because it was in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week at work. So I think we need to go to a ball game and see if he can do 9 dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings.
What? He's don't corrupt this young man, Philip. It's a lot of brewskis to drink in 3 hours, Pilk.
No, I'll drive him home. Be all right. I'll drive him home, and then he's Megan's problem after that.
All right. Do we have the dump button? I am, thanks to Isaac and William and those guys for the job they did, and Dom as well. I did the game yesterday for ESPN Plus between High Point and Gardner-Webb. Now, this is not a good Gardner-Webb team. Let's not lose our minds here. But High Point has scored a gazillion runs this. They're averaging 11 runs a game. And they've hit the second most home runs in the country, behind Georgia. Now, they got to win their tournament to get in, because that's the fate that you have in the Big South. But that is a scary team. I would hate to see them in my regional. They're going to be a 4 seed, maybe a 3, but probably a 4 seed. I'd be terrified if they were in my regional, especially if I were kind of a weaker one.
Yeah.
A flawed one, let's say, who'd had their issues. Problematic.
They remind me a lot last year, that Austin Peay team, where they hit a lot of home runs. Did they have the pitching to make a deep run? No.
Probably not, no.
You know that if you hang some over the middle, you miss over the white, they're going to get up so quickly on you that you're going to be fighting back, and you're going to have to slowly do it because, again, they don't have phenomenal pitching, but it's just good enough to pair with those long balls. I mean, they know how to get on base. They know how to make them not just solo shots. And those teams are dangerous in regionals. They struggle in super regionals, but they're dangerous in regionals.
Yeah, no. And I'm not saying they're going to go on some great, but I would hate to see them with their offensive prowess. Connie Derschlag. Remember that name, Pilk. Connie Derschlag. Hit a leadoff home run in the bottom of the first on the first pitch yesterday. Hit a 3-run homer in the 8th. And robbed a Gardner-Webb player of a home run with a great catch over the wall.
Greatest man named Connie in baseball since Connie Mack.
Maybe so. Braden Simpson's a guy, too, that they feel like will be a draft kid. So interesting there. Beautiful campus, and everybody was very, very nice. It's different. Whenever you go to a different kind of group of production people for the first time, it's a little, never worked with anybody there, and they were beautiful. It was a good thing. I got to go inside that basketball arena, though. Yikes.
Yeah.
It's nice stuff. Really nice stuff.
Darren always raved about how well he's treated when he goes there.
Yeah, no, they were good. They were good. Davin Whitaker, of course, had his heroics. 2-run walk-off homer in the bottom of the ninth. Pirates gave up 5 in the game 1 in the ninth inning and lost. But boy, what an emotional moment with Riley Johnson getting the cramps in his legs, having to be carried off the field. Whew, that was some amazing theater on Saturday night. Watch that. Thought Mike Mullis and Evan Budrovich did a nice job of letting the pictures tell the story, but also interjecting when they should. Sad to see ECU's softball season come to an end. 3-1 loss. Emma Jackson had a home run in that for the only Pirates scoring, and that gives her 21 home runs on the year. That's where she'll finish. And I'm already excited for next season for Pirate softball.
I am returning.
They'll have a big announcement coming up soon. They'll have a big announcement coming up soon.
Not scoring there in the top of the fifth, Patrick. That was kind of the inning on Friday that I don't know how much you were able to see it. Obviously, with you guys traveling, I kind of had Friday afternoon to myself, but it was disappointing. But man, they played a heck of a game against Charlotte to get into that semifinal round, and I think they're going to mature so much in the circle. They've already got the talent; they just need the maturity and returning a lot, returning Emma, returning Anna. It's going to be.
I would love it if they could, and they got some other kids that can rake coming in. I would love it if they could figure out a way to get an arm, like just a veteran arm that wants to come in and maybe be on a grad, last year kind of thing. ECU got a commitment from the dual threat from Northwestern, Mike Wright. He's been at Mississippi State, Vandy, Northwestern. So he kind of knows the drill, going to back up Caton Hauser. Understand that, they had to maybe open the pocketbook up a little on that one. And my Carolina Hurricanes look to go up 3-1 tonight at home, stay perfect at home in the postseason. Got the Washington Capitals. So think about the last 3 nights at the Lenovo. 6 o'clock Saturday, hockey. Pearl Jam last night. And then back to hockey tonight. Living in a big city, man.
Those big things, baby.
Yeah, I know. Got to drive through some Raleigh traffic yesterday. Kind of felt alive again, Pilk. It was nice to actually be in where there was traffic again.
Yeah.
No, it's never good to be around people. But it was good to be in traffic. The Monday today, draft lottery taking place in Chicago. Hornets, Wizards, Jazz. Who gets the number 1 as they all have a 14% chance. We know it won't be the Hornets. They never get the number 1 overall pick. Never.
Won't be the Jazz. They've never had it either.
Yeah, but the Hornets have historically been putrid. The Jazz have at least had moments where they've been pretty good.
True.
The Hornets are perpetually in the lottery.
That's true. The Jazz have been good there where they're not even in the lottery a lot of times in the John Stockton days.
Well, and even recently they had some good teams. How about Kyle Larson? I was going to let you explain this. He took everything this weekend, didn't he? In the event out in Kansas.
Yeah.
He won all of the what do they call it? The
stages.
The stages. He won all the stages. He got the pole, and he won the race. Do I have that right?
Yeah, he led 220 of 267 laps. And you know what else he took over? Points lead. First time all
pretty
season
dominant.
we've woken up on a Monday and William Byron's not been the points leader.
The Larson thing was that's a pretty dominant performance this weekend.
It is, man. Cliff Daniels sets up a heck of a car at tracks like those intermediate tracks. He's so good at Kansas.
Sepp Straka getting his 4th win, 2nd of the year, 2nd in the FedEx Cup points, wins at the Truist in Philly at the Cricket Club. 16 under to win by a couple strokes. Ryan Fox chips in a birdie in the playoff in the other event in Myrtle Beach, and he secures a spot in the PGA. I will not be doing the show Wednesday, Pilk. I'm undecided as I sit here this moment about Thursday and Friday, by the way. Although I think I'll end up doing something. But Wednesday is probably a mull day.
That's what I was. I was driving back.
Not telling you how to book your show.
That's what I was thinking was mull.
Not telling you how to book your show. because it's your show at that point. But it might be wise to do
some
that.
fun with Maul.
Oh, yeah.
I'll text him.
We got Brett yet?
Yeah, he's been on. He's been waiting for a while. He's just.
Oh, I've been riffing and Brett's on. Well, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Brett Friedlander. We'll go to break, and when we come back, there he is, Brett Friedlander. Saturdays down south. We'll go talk to Friedlander. I'm just rambling on, running my mouth, and Friedlander's sitting there so patient. Good boy, that Brett Friedlander. All right, the great Brett Friedlander, Saturdays down south when we come back.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
We're back to the show.
I missed you. We all missed you. Did you miss him?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
I like these rejoiners better, Pilk. They sound fresher and hipper. And when you think fresh and hip, you think Brett Friedlander from Saturdays Down South. Our old friend, one of our favorite guests. I love Friedlander. I really do. Brett is just the best. He really is. All right. Is she banned? Is she not banned? What's the skinny on Air Jordan? ERR Jordan. Air Jordan is what it's being called. It's what I'm calling it. I love that.
First of all, I wasn't even hip in 1980. Okay. So there's that. Second of all, because I sat and listened to your doing the rambling there, a couple of
I'd
things.
like to call it a monologue, Brett, not a rambling. I'd like to call it a monologue, but yes. Okay, go ahead.
There wasn't just a Pearl Jam concert yesterday. Okay.
Okay.
There's going to be another Pearl Jam concert tomorrow. And my son works for the Hurricanes, and he said that the changeover crew is absolutely running on fumes right now. So
I bet.
And then the other thing is, you were talking about
So Eddie Vedder's
high
in Raleigh is what you're telling me. Eddie Vedder's in Raleigh is what you're telling me right now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I would hope that he went to Char Grill for dinner last night or someplace good. But
Yeah.
anyway, or Cookout. But the other thing is, you were talking about a 4 seed, High Point being a dangerous 4 seed. If you want an example, how about the Evansville Purple Aces last year at a regional in maybe Greenville? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you
it's
know,
possible.
they don't have the pitching. Evansville doesn't have the pitching. Evansville. High Point probably doesn't have the pitching. I mean, they're like everybody else. They've got a Friday night guy who's pretty reputable. You know, they got a Saturday guy that could probably.
So you know what they do? They knock out the number 1 seed and send them into the losers bracket and make it difficult for them to win. So that's, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're going to win a regional, but I'd hate to see that Panthers purple and white on the 4 seed in my regional, especially if I'm a little iffy, especially if I'm a little banged up.
All right, now to the TMZ portion of the show.
All right, so Pablo Torre, who is no longer with ESPN, or is he on a deal like everybody else at ESPN now? They're not going to pay you as much, but they let you do other things so you can supplement your income. Is
I think
that the deal he's on right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because he's still on ESPN. Yeah. So he's on a podcast. And look, when we say Pablo, I mean, you know this because you're one of the last of the true journalists. He is a journalist. He is not a talking head. He is not a debater. He is a guy that is an old-fashioned journalist. So, I mean, he's not just throwing stuff out there to say it to try to go viral. And he says 2 sources, no fewer than 2 sources, unnamed, but 2 in the athletic department have said Jordan Hudson, who, by the way, did not win the Miss Maine pageant.
She wasn't even first runner-up.
I know. Not even close. I think the fans revolted in the fan voting on her. Anyway, my point is that, but Bill was there. That now, I guess UNC, it's being reported, is denying this. So what is the truth, Brett Friedlander from Saturday's Down South?
All right.
What is the truth?
So here's my take on the situation. I think Pablo's sources are dead on, but it's a matter of semantics. I don't think that she has officially been banned, and this way UNC can say, hey, he's wrong. We didn't ban her. But she may have been told, or Bill may have been told, keep her the heck away from the building here because we don't need this distraction. So I think both things can be true. Officially, she's not banned, but I think that it has been suggested that she, finds something else to do while Bill is at the football complex. And by the way, if I'm the SID or the athletic director or the coach at a team that's playing UNC this year, I would invite Miss Maine to come flip the pregame coin toss, just, for the psychological value.
I would as well. I just have Miss Maine. Ladies and gentlemen, today we would like to welcome our special coin toss guest, Miss Maine. We don't even know who it is. Miss Maine to flip the coin.
Doesn't matter.
Flip the ceremonial coin. Doesn't matter. That's a great idea. This whole thing, and I mean, we've talked to Giglio. You and Giglio are the guys I like to go to when we have something in ACC country that, especially if it's a little spicy like this whole story is. But I mean, this can't be good if you're North Carolina. I mean, there has to be some buyer's remorse, right? And we haven't even played it down yet, and there has to be buyer's remorse.
Here's the thing, Pat. This is all performance art right now. Because spring practice is over. Belichick and his staff are clearly doing a good job on the transfer portal because they brought in, last I saw, I think the number 3 transfer class. And fall camp doesn't open for another, 2.5 months? And so right now, this is accomplishing exactly what UNC wanted to do when they hired the guy. He's gotten UNC football into the national conversation. It is May the 12th, and we are talking about North Carolina Tar Heels football. Now, not in the way that they envisioned and not in the way they would really like it, because obviously this is troubling, because if it continues once the season starts, it could really be a mess. And, ESPN is going to be a circus anyway. So it could get really ugly. But right now, all it is performance art. And so I don't necessarily think that there's a lot of hand wringing and saying, what are we going to do? But there's we've got to fire a preemptive strike here and make sure that this doesn't turn into a dumpster fire once things get started. And I would like to believe that even in the craziest of midlife crises, if you can call being 73 a midlife crisis, I had mine back about in the 40s, I think. But here's
not the 1940s.
Thing.
Not the 1940s.
No, when I was 40. but here's the thing. When they put the football down and they get out on the grass and they start practicing for the season, you would have to believe that Belichick's going to flip the switch and go into Belichick mode, right? And we're going to Cincinnati from here, right? I mean, you would think, right? I hope.
Well, the thing is this. During all this time that they were winning Super Bowls and all this was going on, Belichick, who I think is maybe secretly opined a little bit, if that's the word, secretly pined, I think, not opined, but opined. I think he is secretly desired to have, some of the spotlight. I remember he did that thing a few years ago. They did kind of the behind the scenes thing, and it showed him sailing. I mean, trying to humanize him. And Brady, I think, was still there at that point. Because, I mean, you look at all the people that have been on that roster, Brady, Gronk, and just the countless others that have been talking heads or Randy Moss for a brief time. In other words, they've always had the larger-than-life personalities during the course of the Super Bowl run. People that we would want to pay attention to what they're doing away from the field in the offseason. That was never Belichick. Now he probably craved that attention a little bit, even though as much as he would like to say on to Cincinnati, that's in season. It's not the off season. That's in season. And he writes a book, and he knows there's got to be media with it. So, I mean, I think he's gotten more than he could ever bargain for. Do you believe, am I onto something there that maybe he's kind of craved a little bit of this media spotlight in the off season?
That's a possibility. Yeah, I mean, you don't. It's one thing to have a 24-year-old girlfriend, but to trot her out there the way he has, clearly he's calling attention to himself. So yeah, there is some traction to that. But again, this is the time of year to do it because right now it's not harming anything except for UNC's, that whole Carolina way thing. But yeah, I mean, but we'll see what happens once they start playing because he doesn't have Tom Brady to play quarterback. And this is a patchwork team that has been put together from all different places. And he's going to have his job cut out for him to make it, to get some chemistry and to turn it into a unit and to get everybody on the same page. This could really be either an incredible story or one of those things where it's going to be like a wreck on the side of the road where you can't help but stop and look because it is such a disaster. And like I said, ESPN is going to have its cameras everywhere. This is going to make Coach Prime's first season at Colorado look like, nursery school. That was crazy. This is going to be crazy on steroids.
It's going to be bonkers. This will be off the chain, as the young people like to say. All right. What I was getting at before I kind of lost myself in my Belichick philosophy is, will Belichick listen? Will he keep her from being at the football facility?
Good question. You know what? I think maybe he would, because if you go back to the CBS interview, the joke was that it looked like he was under some sort of mind control, or that he was being manipulated by her. I even saw, I think it was Barstool put, "Hey Bill, blink twice if you need help." So maybe he is capable of following directions. So I don't know. We'll see.
Brett, good to talk to you. Thanks for the time, as always. We'll talk to you again very soon. Enjoy the Canes game tonight.
I will. Hopefully I can get a win, and hopefully it won't go like 4 overtimes and I lose, I have to stay there past my bedtime.
Exactly. You're not hip. All right. Thank you very much. Great to have Brett Friedlander on. My Carolina Hurricanes, of course. Here's Philip the Ref Pilkington. 94.3 The Game Sports Update and Pirate Report, and then Cliff Godwin on the PJ Show.
Thank you, P-Man. And starting in Pirate Athletics, the softball season did come to an end on Saturday. They fell in the semifinals. The selection show was last night. Unfortunately, they did not make it, but it was a strong showing for Shane Winkler's program this season. Tonight, NBA Draft Lottery, 7 o'clock. Cooper Flagg expected to be the first pick. Who's going to have the first shot at him? All teams that missed the playoffs have a chance, but the teams with the biggest chance, 14% to all the following three teams, the Hornets, the Wizards, and the Jazz. That will be followed by Knicks Celtics Game 4 from the world's most famous arena. Knicks have a 2-1 series lead in that one. Then they'll head out to Oracle Arena at 10 o'clock for Game 4 between the Warriors and T-Wolves. T-Wolves out to a 2-1 lead in that one. Moving over to the NHL now, Carolina Hurricanes are up 2-1. They will be hosting the Capitals in Game 4 of that series tonight inside the Lenovo Center at 7 o'clock. Then we'll head north of the border to Alberta, where the Oilers have a 2-1 lead over the Vegas Golden Knights, and they will host them for Game 4 of that. NFL schedule gets released Wednesday, but the first game has been announced that the season will begin on Thursday night when the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles host America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, at just after 8 o'clock. The Eagles have opened as a touchdown favorite. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. And take a time out on the Patrick Johnson Show. We'll be back with Cliff Godwin on the other side.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first, and that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job well done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Beep, beep. Move over, Buttercup. We're back to the show.
We're back! And I love them.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome in. It is Patrick Johnson, Stephen Igo, and Cliff Godwin, coach of the Pirates, joining us here. ECU is about to embark on the final week of the regular season, scheduled to have Campbell tomorrow night in Greenville, and then the trip to South Florida, which will then lead into Clearwater. So the Pirates will be finishing up with a Florida swing and moving to the conference tournament. Coming up at its familiar spot in Clearwater. Lots to talk about. Cliff Godwin joins us here. Coach, an exciting way to close the doubleheader. Tough one in the first game of Saturday's Twin Bill, but then coming back as you did. Great game and a great way to win it in a walk-off on Saturday night after just one of the more emotional moments I think we've seen in the stadium in a long time. We'll get into that, but first, congrats on the win and just the thoughts on last week, particularly the UTSA series, which had a lot of nail biters.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that we can play with anybody in the country. Unfortunately, we tend to really do some things that hinder us from winning those close games. I mean, even in the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday, I mean, you're up, I think, 2 runs, and we get the first guy out. And of course, a call doesn't go our way. If you go back and watch the check swing, you really think the guy went. I think it was the second batter. So, I mean, just changes the whole inning. Of course, we just can't get off the field, as that's happened to us a lot this year, where we just can't get off the field. A lot of freebies in that inning, and our guys battle back, and we have the time run at second base and go ahead and run at first base, and Riley Johnson up, who, was hot this weekend at the plate, and the guy strikes Riley out. You go to the second game, and I think we give up a run in the first, and we put up a 4 spot. Then we go back out and give up a 4 spot. And then it kind of just, a lot of zeros were put up by Sean Jenkins and their starting pitcher. We give up 2 more runs in the 8th. Doesn't look good. And you kind of feel like that's the way it's going to end. And our guys fought back and scored 2 in the 8th and then 2 in the 9th to be able to walk them off. So it was an awesome moment and something that this team for sure needed, to be quite honest with you, because as I said in my post game, I think everybody around our program that has lived what we've had to live every single day, and no, it's not life or death, but losing sucks. I mean, as much as the coaches and the players invest in it, and I know that that's what the fans want is wins, but man, it's not like the guys haven't showed up every day and gone about their business the right way, and our coaches the same way. We try to figure out different ways to motivate, to prepare, all things. I mean, you pretty much turn over every stone you possibly can to try to figure out how to get this thing rolling. And we still have breath in our lungs, so to speak. As long as they have games on the schedule, we still get to play, and that's what the message has been the whole year. So I'm excited for this week coming up, and hopefully this momentum that we had after a walk-off win against UTSA will get our guys a little confidence and some momentum heading into this week before the conference tournament.
Cliff Godwin with us. Coach Godwin, take us through the Davin Whitaker at bat.
Really just, the first pitch was a ball, and, you want to stay in the middle of the field in that situation so you just don't hit a ground ball right at one of those infielders on the right side. And he got a pitch that was elevated and stayed inside of it enough to get it, more up the middle than where the second baseman was. So, it was an awesome moment for somebody that shows up and goes to work every day and is very mature in his preparation, even when he's not an everyday player. And we need more guys like Davin Whitakers, of the guys that just show up and really take care of their business consistently every single day.
Riley Johnson striking out, but then he comes back late in the game, game 2, and gets the runners over. I guess cramps up and has to be helped off. I thought it was a nice gesture from the UTSA folks to come and get him off and start to move him, and then obviously the Pirates came and got him. But man, what an emotional moment that was. Heroic in a lot of ways, and just so selfless of him to get the runners in scoring position, which obviously proved to be fruitful.
Yeah, you really got to see on a senior weekend the best of Riley Johnson, even though he's a shell of himself when he's 100% healthy. But you see him go over the right center field fence and make an unbelievable play. I guess that was on Friday. Robs a home run. And then you see a grand slam in game two. His first at bat, you see him get down a bunt and just lay his entire body on the line. And, in a doubleheader in the ninth inning and, just is barely out, but then is cramped up in both calves. And, man, he's laid it all on the line for us every single day. He's been able to go out there, and I just can't say enough about him because of his body has just let him down, physically. I don't know if I've ever been around a guy that is this young that the body has just failed him to this point. And we have to manage him, as good as we can, but we obviously want him on the field because even when he's not 100%, just the toughness and the energy he brings to our team gives our team a lot of confidence.
I'll let I go take it here in a second, but I was just curious from your, what was that moment like to, have him, kind of be carried off. And did you go back and revisit it by watching it? Because, it was a pretty powerful moment.
Actually, have not. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, so I'll probably go back and watch it today at some point in time. I was really just caught up in the moment of us trying to win a game.
Sure.
And but I'll definitely go back and watch it. But it was super, super special for Riley. The fans really got to see once again the passion he has for this place, and the guy's been here for 5 years, which obviously is abnormal this day and age, and what East Carolina has meant to him, not just on the baseball side of things, but the relationships that he has created and the love that he has for his teammates and the fans in this place is very, very, very unique and very special.
Cliff Godwin with us on this Monday, and Coach, I did want to follow up. Just, do you expect to have Riley this week? Is it a day-by-day situation? Just if it was cramps, is there hope he'll be back here for conference tournament play and hopefully beyond?
Yeah, I feel good about him, being able to go this weekend. We do have a game scheduled for tomorrow, but the weather doesn't look like that's going to cooperate. I'm not sure if he'd be able to go tomorrow. He was really, really sore yesterday, but a lot of it had to do with the cramping. I don't know if you guys have ever had, cramps that are severe. The next day you're pretty sore. So, his body was very sore from that, plus the other workload that he had from, playing 3 games in 2 days.
Also wanted to follow up, Coach, on Whitaker as well. And I remember I can't remember which game of the UNC series it was, but he just looked, not comfortable at the plate and that at bat. And, to kind of see his growth over the course of the year, his first year playing real college baseball, how much work has he put in? And then, to get a moment like that, how much can that do for his confidence?
Yeah, I remember that at bat. It was Saturday in Durham. I guess that was game 1 because we got snowed out or iced out, whatever it was, on Friday. And it was a tough matchup, shadows, the whole deal. But, he struck out, and it probably looked like he was overmatched. And in that moment, he was. But the guy, like I said, shows up, goes to work every day, and really just gives us everything he has at practice. That's put him in the situation that he is now, where he is a guy that, has started for some in right field, has come off the bench and had some big pinch hits, whether it's hitting a home run to allow us to 10-run rule a team, etc. So, and like I said, I pull for Davin Whitaker as much as any player on our team just because he works his tail off every single day.
Because we talked about it this year, but y'all have, at times found, very difficult ways to lose games. But in the finale, you mentioned it, but just find a way to win a game like that where, it kind of like it was going to get away from you. And I don't know, to me, it just showed some toughness from your ball club that, we've seen at times this year. But in that moment, I felt like that was, I don't know, old school ECU baseball. Just kind of what can that do from a collective unit standpoint of, hey, we're never out of a game. We can always come back, especially against a really good baseball team.
Well, I go, what you said, and you're trying to be very nice, which I appreciate. So I don't, you're probably worried about me losing my temper because losing does suck. But, I've said this a lot over the past couple weeks. For what this team has been through, from an injury perspective, from having to play a lot of youth. Your mentality would have to be elite to perform at a level that we would all want here as East Carolina fans and as coaches and as players. And our mentality has not been elite. And look, I'm the leader of the organization, and people can be critical. There's nobody that looks himself in the mirror more than I do. So I understand that. And there will be a change of the way our mentality is moving forward. I don't know if we can get there this year, but man, we're putting together a group of players to go to South Florida and a conference tournament, and we're going to give you everything we got. So, but the attention to detail that this team has lacked at times in practice has shown up on the field. And some of it is youth, some of it is just not being able to stay focused, which is a problem in all of society at this point in time. And I'll get on a tangent with the cell phone and the scrolling. Like, kids just can't, and it's not just kids, it's adults too. I mean, you deal with adults that they scroll, well, they can't focus and retain information and then be able to execute whatever you need them to execute at a high level. And people don't write stuff down anymore. But those little nuances of playing the game of baseball, man, like you watch, you turn on TV, and even in Major League Baseball, I mean, there's things that are done on a Major League Baseball field that have never been done before, like hitting balls farther, throwing balls harder. But the game itself is the worst played game in the history of baseball, because people are created in a tunnel, in a cage, in a laboratory, but they don't know. Like Drew Downs not sliding at second base on a bunt in game 2 of the doubleheader. Like, you learned that in Little League. Like, why would you not slide into second base when they're throwing the ball to second base? And it's just that lack of focus in that moment that has, and it's not just Drew, obviously. I just point out that that's like an example of what we have done at times this year when, well, that loses the game for you. And at that moment, we were down 1 run, and I think it was 5-4 in that moment. And it stayed 5-4 for a long time until the 8th inning. And we'd have had first and second, no outs, because they threw the ball to second base and he'd have been safe. I mean, how that changes that inning. Now you have a runner at first base with 1 out. It's a big deal, that small detail of not sliding into second base.
And is that one of those things, Coach, with obviously your program has always leaned heavily on player development. Now you just – maybe just with the way baseball is taught at a younger age, you have to go through more growing pains at times. I don't know. Is that just part of it now?
No, we got to do a better job as coaches. I mean, we're going to have more classroom sessions than we've ever had. I mean, we actually made that adjustment last week where before practice, we're just getting everybody together and go over and like have them watch a video of, we showed the play last week at Wichita State. Norby's on the mound. We're in a shift, and so Irby is, in, but he's over in the 4-hole at first base, and it's a right-handed batter, and he chops the ball, and Irby immediately goes and gets it, and Norby covers first base, even though it's a right-handed batter, and we make it look easy in that moment when at times, earlier that weekend when Pruitt didn't cover first base, then, the inning blows up on you. And so we're just doing more stuff like that, more classroom sessions, because we've got to teach them better so that they understand the game better so they can go out there and execute it when they need to.
Cliff Godwin with us. Let's want to ask you a little bit about Jake Hunter's performance Saturday in Game 1. Likely the last time fans will be, seeing him take the hill at home. I thought another case, too, where a guy gave you everything that he had on that particular day, probably deserved a little better fate as far as the result goes.
For sure. We lose, Friday. I think he threw 9 pitches in the inning he had. And AK were in my office after the game, just discussing who we were going to start in Game 1 on Saturday. And Jake came in, and I just looked at him and said, "Hey, Jake, who do you want to start Game 1 tomorrow?" He says, "Well, am I an option?" And I looked over at AK and was like, "Hey, is he an option?" He goes, "Yep." I said, "You're starting then. All right, let's go." And what an awesome moment for him, his family, just going through the Tommy John surgery. And to be honest with you, he's given us more than I ever anticipated, but especially in that moment against a very, very offensive UTSA team. I think he went 5 innings and only gave up 1 run. and gave us an unbelievable chance to win that game. And it's just special. And for him to be able to come out of the game and get the standing O, man, that's what playing ECU baseball and playing in front of our fans, that's what it's all about.
Cliff, Sean Jenkins, really great in relief of Zayak for you. Goes 6 2/3, and I mean he is starting to kind of maybe pick up where he was in the fall, but another just gutsy, excellent performance.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny. These are the things that you wish you had the crystal ball for. That we've been. Zayak's been unbelievable over the past 2 weeks, and Sean hasn't been great over the past 2 weeks. Not been terrible, he hasn't been great. So, we're going to start Zayak. Well, Zayak's not sharp, but then Sean comes in and, just dominates for 6 2/3. Well, if we'd have known that, we'd have just started Sean. But those are the things, those are the things that that's been tough for us to navigate, to figure out what guy's going to show up on in any given day. And really, down the stretch run, we're going to need Sean Jenkins to be good. We're going to need Lance Williams, which he was better this weekend, to be able to take on some workload. Zayak's going to have to, be good. D'Lo's going to have to be good. We're going to have to be able to get something out of Nick Moran. And then the other guys just need to keep doing what they've been doing, the guys that we have been our main guys. But, you can see some growth out of some of those young pitchers, which, man, they're not freshmen anymore, man. They've been as tested as any group we've ever had, because we've had to keep running them out there. I mean, we have really 12 healthy pitchers on our pitching staff right now, and that's counting Colby Wallace. So just sit back and think about that for a minute. When, going into the year, we had over 20 pitchers that we were on our staff, and we have 12 healthy. Some of them you guys have never heard of because they're on the roster and they've been hurt the entire year. So those are just things that we've had to deal with the entire year, and don't need people to feel sorry for us. But we've got a thin group, but actually it's less people to manage. So that's one positive from that standpoint. So we will have a group that's ready and hungry when we get on that flight to head to Tampa for South Florida, and then also the conference tournament.
That is coming up this week, of course. Nothing, at least last we checked, official on the baseball game tomorrow, but with Campbell qualifying for their conference tournament, Pilk, I'm not 1,000% sure I wouldn't bet they're playing ball tomorrow night with the weather and all of that. And that's,
I'm with you.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate in a way because it's a great series. But I'm sure Campbell isn't itching to come up here, and I obviously think East Carolina's got their mind set towards, okay, we need to close as strong as possible with South Florida to set our pitching up so it'll be laid out for a tournament run. It's just my belief.
Oh, I agree.
Great to have Brett Friedlander on. Great to have Cliff Godwin on. Thanks to Stephen Igo as well. Thanks to Pilk. Welcome back to him. Tomorrow, Dr. Chris Parker with the Region 10 and Maeve English. All of that's tomorrow on the Patrick Johnson Show. Looking forward to that. All right, have a great rest of your evening, everybody. Stay dry, stay safe. See you in the morning on Talk of the Town back here. PJ Show tomorrow.